Good evening, I'm Professor Michael and you're watching Kini News, the show that brings you today's biggest stories. To topple the current government, to change the Prime Minister and to support Anwar Ibrahim. No, these aren't pledges made by the opposition. According to Anwar Musa, these were pledges made by his party president in Umno.
Anwar Musa today accused Umno President Ahmad Zahid Hamidi of using the party for personal interest. This comes just a day after it was revealed that Anwar Musa was sacked as the BN Secretary General. In a press conference held this afternoon, Anwar alleged that Zahid had in black and white supported PKR President Anwar Ibrahim's bid to topple the Perikatan Nasional Plus government led by Muhyiddin Yassin.
Saya tahu semua sekali dan surat ini saya dah semak dengan banyak pihak. Surat ini adalah tulen. Ya. Dan dalam surat-surat ini antara perkara-perkara yang disebut adalah untuk menjatuhkan kerajaan yang ada sekarang, menukar Perdana Menteri dan menjanjikan kesetiaan kepada Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim.
Anwar explained that Zahid had been involved in repeated attempts to threaten the stability of the Perikatan Nasional Plus government, which had affected the relationship between UMNO, PAS dan Bersatu.
Maka saya secara konsisten dan juga saya terus berusaha mengharmonikan hubungan antara parti-parti, terutama sekali parti-parti orang Melayu, khususnya UMNO, PAS dan Bersatu. Saya membuat pengakuan di sini, sehingga pada hari ini pun saya berpegang kepada prinsip UMNO dan PAS mestilah lebih rapat, lebih akrab. Kalau ada pun perbezaan, ada cara kita menguruskannya.
He said these three parties were the core of the efforts to unite Malays and Muslims, but Zahid's actions had worked against it. Anwar added that the party is seen to have been drawn into a personal agenda. Although Anwar did not make it clear, it was likely that this was a veiled reference to the fact that the present government did not drop corruption charges against Zahid, which was initiated by the previous administration. Anwar also accused Zahid of disrespecting the party's decision to not work with DAP and Anwar.
Pada saya ada satu perkara yang terlalu berat, yang saya sebagai Sesagung Barisan Nasional, saya tidak dapat mendukung keputusan yang sedemikian. Ini adalah kerana itu perkara yang terlalu prinsip, kerana ia merupakan satu keputusan parti secara resmi di peringkat Biro Politik, Jawatan Kuasa Pengurusan, Majlis Tertinggi, malah Perhimpunan Agung UMNO.
Despite his removal as BN Secretary General, Anwar vowed to continue contributing to UMNO and the unity of Muslims. Meanwhile, both MCA and MIC claimed that they were not consulted on Anwar's removal, which was a requirement under the BN Charter.
With news that UMNO is pushing for snap elections, several prominent UMNO leaders have spoken against the idea.
Anwar Musa today accused UMNO President Ahmad Zahid Hamidi of repeatedly seeking snap elections during the COVID-19 pandemic to destabilize the Perikatan Nasional Plus government.
Pada fikiran saya, mewujudkan ketidakstabilan atau lagi nak mengadakan pilihan raya di saat rakyat sekarang begitu khawatir dengan penularan COVID-19 dengan angka 4 digit dan kita masih belum berjaya to flatten the curve. Ini semua sepatutnya kita tidak bercakap langsung tentang menimbulkan situasi tidak stabil dan lari fokus kita daripada menangani masalah COVID secara bersama.
Meanwhile, two UMNO cabinet ministers have voiced disagreement with a snap general election. In a statement today, Hishamuddin Hussain, who is the Foreign Affairs Minister, reminded UMNO leaders that the country was still facing the COVID-19 pandemic. The Minister for Science, Technology and Innovation, Khadijah Jamuluddin, tweeted that anyone calling for snap polls during the pandemic was irresponsible. Party President Ahmad Zahid Hamidi had reportedly sought the support of the party's 189 division heads during a meeting last night to pursue a withdrawal from the Perikatan Nasional Plus government, which would trigger a snap election. The wishes of the 189 division heads, among other issues, are expected to be discussed by the Supreme Council when it meets at 8 p.m. tonight. However, both Hishamuddin and Kari would not have a say when the Supreme Council meets tonight, as they are not members of the council.
Malaysia has set a new record today, and so did Selangor. Let's take a look at the country's latest COVID-19 figures.
Malaysia today reported the highest number of new daily cases with 2,593 infections. Selangor also reported its highest number yet, with 965 new cases, followed by Johor with 571 cases. With today's increase, the active cases in Malaysia has now reached over 24,000. Health Director General Dr. Nur Hisham Abdullah reported 4 new deaths today, 2 in Sabah and 1 each in Selangor and Kuala Lumpur respectively. Dr. Hisham also said 13 new clusters were discovered today, with 252 clusters still active. The number of patients in the ICU have also increased to 141, with those requiring breathing aid now at 67. Meanwhile, Senior Minister Ismail Sabri Yaakob announced today that the Ipoh sub-district in Perak will be placed under a Conditional Movement Control Order, CMCO, beginning January 7th until the 20th.
Asmin Ali is no stranger to Selangor. He was even once the Menteri Besar, and now he leads Perikatan Nasional in the state.
Asmin Ali has been appointed as the Selangor Perikatan Nasional Chief. In his first statement in his capacity as the state PN chief, Asmin urged coalition members in the state to unite in order to serve Selangorians and the country. Asmin said he was grateful to PN chairperson Muhyiddin Yassin for trusting him and vowed to strengthen the coalition in the state. The Bukit Antarabangsa Assembly person said he is aware that Selangor is a cosmopolitan and progressive. Therefore, Selangor PN will work hard to meet the aspirations of the people in terms of ensuring security and economic progress. Asmin was the Menteri Besar of Selangor from 2014 to 2018. His appointment as the Selangor PN head would likely signal that he was the coalition's nominee for Menteri Besar should it form the state government in the future.
A New Year's Eve date for a couple in Selangor turned pretty creepy after they caught a man recording upskirt videos.
A New Year's Eve date at Sunway Pyramid turned into a nightmare for a couple as they encountered a 38-year-old with a modified paper bag used to record upskirt videos of women. The suspect's activity came to a halt after he was nabbed by his victim's boyfriend at a boutique in the mall. According to the police report filed by the boyfriend, while he and his 25-year-old girlfriend were in a boutique, he saw a man carrying a black paper bag with a hole in it. The complainant suspected that the man had recorded the victim's underskirt. He tailed the suspect and seized the paper bag. He found a phone inside in a recording mode. An auxiliary policeman then hauled the suspect to the Bandar Sunway police station. According to the police, the suspect is a salesman and has no criminal record. Meanwhile, in a posting by the alleged victim, she said the suspect was behaving suspiciously near her while she was browsing at the shop. After her boyfriend noticed a hole on the side of the bag, he confronted the suspect to inspect the paper, but the latter refused and instead apologized to him. She said, after numerous requests, the pervert then removed his mobile phone from the paper bag, threw the paper bag into the dustbin and attempted to delete the videos while trying to escape. She claimed that the suspect had cited insanity as the reason for the activity when probed.
Coming up next, a bleak start to 2021 for Britain as it enters its third lockdown. The UK government is looking at further options to restrict international travel following the latest national lockdown being imposed in England.
Overworked, overwhelmed and sleep-deprived. The reality of staff working at London's St. George's Hospital as they cope with mounting COVID-19 cases after the festive period. Chloe is a senior nurse.
The first Monday after Christmas and New Year's, and it's been one of the worst shifts of my entire life. Intense. I'm looking after many more sick patients than I normally look after. It's just overwhelming, the whole situation.
In England alone, some 27,000 people are in hospital with COVID. That's 40% more than during the first peak in April. Nurse Hannah says it's taking a physical and mental toll on her.
I personally cry when I get home quite a lot actually at the moment. Sleep, we're suffering with sleep problems, I think a lot of nurses and doctors at the moment as well. You just have to relax on your days off as best you can, ready, prepping yourself to come back again is what I would say.
Prime Minister Boris Johnson announced a new national lockdown for England late on Monday. He said the highly contagious new coronavirus variant, first identified in Britain, was spreading so fast that the National Health Service risked being overwhelmed within 21 days. Dominic Spray is the Director of Critical Care at St George's.
We are having to think about whether we do cancer surgery. We're having to postpone cancer surgery because of the number of COVID patients we have in. So even if you don't think you are doing any harm by bending the rules a little, you are. It has a knock-on effect. And we are seeing the knock-on effect here.
Alongside the new lockdown, the UK is pinning its hopes on vaccination efforts. The country has begun rolling out 2 vaccines against COVID, and more than 1 million people have already received their first dose.
California is in crisis as officials blame holiday parties and travel for a surge that is killing 1 person every 15 minutes in LA County.
California in crisis. With coronavirus cases and deaths surging so high, 911 dispatchers can't keep up.
It's just call after call after call. The amount of 911 calls we receive and send our ambulances to is just out of control.
EMS workers then wait, sometimes up to 4 hours, until their patient is admitted, with hospital beds near capacity and ICU workers in short supply. Many sick with COVID themselves, like at USC's Keck School of Medicine, where Charles Trutnovsky is an ER doctor.
This is the worst medical disaster that I've seen in over 30 years of practicing in emergency medicine.
On Monday, 2 stark memos were issued by the LA County Emergency Medical Services Agency. One instructed paramedics to conserve their use of oxygen. The other told them not to bring patients to hospitals who appear to have little chance of survival. LA County Public Health Director Dr. Barbara Ferrer on Monday blamed holiday parties and travel for a spike so high in her area it is killing 1 person every 15 minutes, with LA County on its way to possibly more than 1,000 deaths a week.
We're likely to experience the worst conditions in January that we faced the entire pandemic, and that's hard to imagine.
California is one of 4 states that have detected the new variant of the virus first found in the UK, the others being New York, Florida, and Colorado. Dr. Ferrer told LA residents to, quote, take every precaution possible as 1 in 5 people in the county have tested positive.
Assume that this deadly, invisible virus is everywhere, looking for a willing host.
For those feeling isolated after months of strict measures, Ferrer reminded LA residents that it's, quote, better to be lonely than to be sick.
And that is all from me today. For more stories, you can go to KiniTV.com. You can also follow us on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and Facebook for the latest news updates. We'll be back with more tomorrow, same time, same place. I'm Prasad Michael. Thank you for watching.